The greatest power you possess is your ability to choose. Join Lowe's Moore as he reveals how you can begin to maximize that power by exploring yourself on the deepest levels and committing to making lasting and positive changes. Get ready to achieve breakthroughs that will lead to accelerated growth and transformation, because you are now tuned in to The Blueprint.
Why they actions contradict the lamb. I'm fellowshipping when I'm with the fam. That's more relations, that's foreign and foreign.
Good evening and welcome back to the Blueprint Podcast. I'm your host, Lowe's Moore, and I am excited to be with you guys on another Sunday evening. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been doing Saturday mornings. We did my wife and I, we were in Fayetteville, North Carolina for Memorial Day weekend. We had a McNair Davenport family reunion in Fayetteville, North Carolina. It was a wonderful time, wonderful weekend. And my wife and I was just kicking it in regards to around those individuals who fought for the freedom of America and lost their lives. That's what Memorial Day was all about. And we were honoring them, last week. And we actually were talking about some things in the future about the Blueprint Podcast. And we had a great time last weekend. And I hope you guys had a wonderful Memorial weekend as well, because, it's families remembering the loved ones they lost. And also it's about, really, everything is about family. I mean, so getting together is important during those holidays, getting together, remembering and spending time with one another is a very powerful situation. Nothing more important and nothing more powerful than family. And so, again, I want to say thank you guys for your support of the Blueprint Podcast each and every week, right? And remember, Lowe's More the Blueprint on Facebook, Lowe's More the Blueprint on YouTube. If you don't mind, you go to Facebook and you see Lowe's More the Blueprint. You don't mind pressing the like button. And if you don't mind, you're on YouTube, subscribe and like Lowe's More the Blueprint on YouTube. And let's not forget, and I want to say thank you. I was with him this week in a business networking lunch. My good friend, Philip Reed. And I want to say thank you to Philip for allowing me to stream live on the Phoenix National Network, as well as Roku, and also the Fire TV stick. You can find us there as well. I want to say thank you. And I'm looking forward to doing some big things in the future, right? We're coming up on the very end. This is our last show of this season, and it's a treat, right? It's a treat to do this last show with my guest this week, and I'm gonna introduce him in a moment. But I come tonight in terms of the Blueprint with my guest. This is a celebration. I'm honoring him, right? I'm honoring him tonight, and it should have been. It's long overdue. Right, long overdue, but we're gonna have some fun on the Blueprint. And I want to say, let's get rolling, right? Let's get rolling. Let's start with my book of the week. All right, there you go. My book of the week is Muhammad Ali Unfiltered, right? And it was forwarded by Leon Ali, and I believe somewhere in the archives, somewhere in storage, I got that book. Because I was a big, I think everybody was, man. I mean, Muhammad Ali was a hero for so many of us, particularly, black folks growing up. Muhammad Ali, man, was such a role model. And a legend in his sport, and in my estimation, this is just my estimation, is the greatest boxer in the history of the game. Just in my estimation. I'm going to talk a little bit more about him in a few minutes, but that's my book of the week. And there are a lot of books on Muhammad Ali. I mean, probably hundreds of books of Muhammad Ali or magazines about Muhammad Ali. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, he's amazing. So let's get the word of the week, right? Let's get the word of the week out of the way, called mission. I mean, I think like if one of the things, if you're starting a business, or if you're starting a business that's a non-for-profit, if you're looking like myself and my guests, if you're looking to get into the world of sports, entertainment, or business, becoming a minister, right? You've got to have a mission, right? You have to have a mission statement, right? Why am I in this? Why am I doing this? You know, and you got to have a mission, because without that mission, man, there's no real purpose. Right. And there's my brother Doug right there. I haven't seen Larry in years. That's what he said. Tell Larry I said hello.
Hello back at you, Doug.
Yeah. So and absolutely a legend. That's my hero also, Ron Flemings. Yeah, Ron.
Grill.
Yeah, the grill. And just awesome, man. That you got to have a mission, right? A mission means purpose. You got to have purpose. And regardless of how old you get, right? When you start a mission and complete a mission, right? Life is not over. You get to start another mission, right? And you get to get new goals, new dreams, new ideas. So make sure you work on your mission statement. And even before your mission statement, you got to have a vision statement, right? And so that's my word of the week, mission. And then here's my Pierce Hopper affirmation moment, right? It says here, never look down on someone unless you're helping them up, right? That's a powerful statement right there, man. Never look down on, because we got people out here that look down on people, right? But it ain't there. They're not there to pick them up, right? If you're going to look down on somebody, help them up, right? And that's my Pierce Hopper affirmation quote moment. And here's my music and movie, right? I don't know if you know, we went to the movies. We always run into the movies back in the day. But one of the great songs, one of the greatest, Muhammad Ali is the greatest, but one of the great songs ever made. George Benson sung this song. You see him right next to in this photo here. George Benson sung "The Greatest Love of All." Right. I mean, that song during the movie. Yeah, it does. I mean, you can listen to it today. It is as relevant as it was yesterday. Is relevant today as well. And then if you didn't get a chance to see this movie over here, my movie of the week is One Night in Miami. Just one night. 4 legends. You got Malcolm X. Right, you got Sam Cooke, Muhammad Ali, and Jim Brown. Right, one night in Miami after Muhammad Ali won the championship, and they spent a night together. Right, I mean they hung out together.
May 25th, 1965.
Yeah, they hung out together. Right, and awesome movie. That's awesome movie about some legends talking about real serious situations and issues, and you got 1965, as Larry said, man, it wasn't easy for black men, right, at that time. And so they were talking about some very heavy things that was going on in America and still going on in America. So, if you haven't seen it, check out the movie, The Greatest. Check out the song is in the movie. And check out One Night in Miami as well. And then here's my person of the week. Muhammad Ali. Yeah. I got to say it because a few years ago, my son Isaiah in high school, I don't even know, I think, he was in high school finishing up his senior year in high school playing wheelchair basketball. And the wheelchair basketball championships was in Louisville, Kentucky. And we were down there, and we met some other legends from Mount Vernon, right? Scooter and Rodney McCray came to see Isaiah play. And I said, man, we're going to be here a few days. What's around Louisville? Besides the University of Louisville, and you guys being legends, what's here? He said, man, you've got to go to the Muhammad Ali Museum.
Wow.
Right, and my wife and I went to the Muhammad Ali Museum. We started on the 3rd floor, right, and forget about talking about Muhammad Ali as a boxer, but Muhammad Ali as a humanitarian. And that's where they start. When you start on that 3rd floor, they give you a history lesson of all the things that Muhammad Ali went through as a black man and all the things he contributed to America and the world. Muhammad Ali wasn't known just in America. Muhammad Ali was known all over the world. He was feeding people, stopping wars, right? He put himself in harm's way so many times, right, that it was he was just incredible. And then you go downstairs to the 2nd floor, and then they have all the things of when Muhammad Ali, where he lived in Louisville, and all the the things, awards that he won as a young amateur boxer and so forth and so on, how he got into the whole deal. And then you get to that last where he's the greatest. I mean, all his memorabilia, all his shorts, his robes, all those kind of things.
While you're speaking that, I got to meet Muhammad Ali on February 11, 1997. That was the premiere when we were kings. He stopped, he took a picture with me, and he said, good luck the rest of the way. I thought that was the most extravagant thing at that time for my career. When he came and he took a picture with me and he told me, good luck the rest of the way. That made me kind of think, this is the kind of guy you got to be. Just like that, look back and give back to up-and-coming fighters, up-and-coming athletes who want to try to reach where you want to go, where he was. And that's very important.
Yeah, and I was a little kid. I think I was at the Boys and Girls Club, and Mr. Jones, may he rest in peace, took us down to 42nd Street when it was a little crazy down on 42nd Street. We was down there early in the morning. We wanted to get down there to see those early shows because the shows were not expensive. The movies down there were not expensive. And, man, there was a huge crowd, right, on 42nd Street, man. It was like we thought it was a gang fight, man. Like a bunch of black men just out there get ready to fight, And we all of a sudden, as we got closer, we realized, right, it was Muhammad Ali in the middle of the crowd, man, talking to all the men out there, all the black men out there, and shaking hands with them and hugging guys, acting like he was boxing with the guys out there, man. And I was like, man, that's Muhammad Ali, right? And I had the privilege during the honoring the Boys and Girls Club of America and the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon honored Denzel Washington at the Waldorf Astoria, and I got a chance to introduce Denzel and give him his award along with Cedric the Entertainer, and everybody was there. I met Joe Frazier was there. Talked with Joe Frazier, shook hands with Joe Frazier. Talked with Muhammad Ali there, man. He was putting on his little show and stuff like that, doing that. Like he was punching Denzel and all that kind of stuff like that. And it was just a great night. And Muhammad Ali was a great human being. I mean, so my person of the week. And here on, I think we got Losey. As you know, every week Losey's on the road. He's somewhere, but he's going to be in Columbus, Georgia on Tuesday, June the 3rd at 7:30, man. If you were in that area, please check him out. Pensacola, Florida. He's going to be on 6th, on June 4th and 5th at 7:30. Pensacola, Florida. He's going to be down there, and then he's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. If you know anybody in these places, right? you know, hey, tell them to go see Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptation. All these guys are talented. All these ladies are talented. The whole who's putting on the production is amazing, right? And he's out there doing his thing. He got to hang out, right? He got to hang out with some friends of mine this weekend. On yesterday, Ricky Williams played with the Utah Jazz, played against them in the CBA as well. Got the chance to see Losey yesterday, and then a legend at West Virginia University. Will Robinson. I think he's the little. I'm in the top 10 scorers in the history of West Virginia, and Will is number 2 or 3, and he was with Losey this afternoon at the 2:00 show in Buffalo.
Okay,
in Buffalo, right. New York, and he was out there with them. And doing his thing, man. So if you're in any of those areas and you got any family members, friends in any of those areas we mentioned, right? Columbus, Georgia, Pensacola, Florida, and in Atlanta, Georgia. And then we get the chance to see him. We didn't announce it yet, but if you in the New York area, New Jersey area, he's gonna be Father's Day weekend. He's going to be in New Haven, Connecticut, right? Get your tickets now, because when it gets close, them tickets go like, whoop, they be gone. And if you want to see him, this is the closest he's coming to home since he was in New Jersey, right? And, and then we're going to get on a plane, and we're going to go to West Palm Beach, Florida.
Wow.
And we're going to hang out with some friends, and we're going to see the show again.
All right.
Yeah, and we're going to get a chance to see Losey, and it's going to be powerful. But as we move forward, I want to say happy birthday. We just left this birthday celebration of Deacon Anthony Johnson. His birthday is next Saturday, right? And Bishop Kim Covington Johnson's birthday was last Saturday, and they did like a joint happy birthday celebration to them. We just left that. So that we can be on the show this evening. But happy birthday to the both of them. They are amazing, amazing couple, right? And, and good friends, right? And, on a sad note, I want to just take a quick moment here. On a sad note, we lost a legend, right? Marion Jones was before she was married. I know Marion when she was Marion Jones, right? And now Marion Jones Archer. Elder Archer was a pioneer. When you go back to church, there was no praise dancing in church. Ain't nobody doing no praise. Everybody praise dancing now. Everybody got a praise dance group. And Marion at Emmanuel Pentecostal Faith Temple in Mount Vernon, New York. Marion was one of the first to start praise dancing in our churches, and she transformed praise dancing and made it historical in regards to black dancers and the connection between Africa. And so African dancing, praise dancing became what she hung her hat on, right? And she was amazing and started dance troupes, right? I mean, before her passing, she's probably been in so many schools, many high schools, many organizations. She had a dance group called the Revelators. She was a long time part of the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon, a part of the Dole Center, and she transformed it from dance into acting. And every year she always had a play every year, and she was just amazing. I mean, she's just amazing, and she will be a tremendous loss. And I was saying about Pastor Bishop Kimmy Johnson and Deacon Anthony Johnson, right? I was talking about when you throw a pebble in a pond and the ripple effect. You will never know with Marion, Elder Archer, how many lives she saved, how many lives she turned around, transformed, how many lives she touched, and how many lives the lives of those people that she touched will touch. It will go on and on and on forever. Right? And that's how you leave a legacy. Right? We will miss you, Marion. Right? I will miss you because sitting up in the pulpit, we didn't always act the best.
So, yes.
We found the humor in service. Anything that was funny, we always found something humorous about the service. And we would just laugh about the things that were going on in service at times, But you will be truly missed. We love you. Your son is our godson. I was talking to him the other day. He is broken. And your husband and all those who know Marion, right? We're going to celebrate her in a few weeks, right? But here's the important thing, right? You still got Trevor, her husband, and you still got Travis. After the service and all the things are over with, they're still going to need your help. They're still going to need the calls and loves and prayers. So, in remembering her, remember her husband and remember her son, Travis. All right, let's get rolling here. So I'm going to show you this video. It's going to take a moment, right? Kind of get you the gist of what's happening tonight. So let's check out this video.
Where did you get all this from?
We got to show one more. We got to get the gist of what this is all about. Let's show the one and only Larry Bond.
In a special 10-round bout, this is in the welterweight division. When the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, referee Benji Estevez. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trimmed with gold and weighing in at 146 pounds. From Crofton, Maryland, he brings a record of 20 victories with 10 KOs against 8 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the punishing Paisan Jeff Passero. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the solid black trunks and weighing 146 1/2 pounds. His record an outstanding 137-1, 14 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, the pride and joy of Mount Vernon, New York, Larry Noki Barnes.
I'm already giving you about instructions, obey my commands, and good luck to both of you. Touch up and good luck to both of you. Let's go.
First round action with schedule for 10. We've got welterweights here. Larry Barnes comes out fast with a left hook. Interesting to point out that Jeff Passero took a 10-year hiatus from boxing after getting knocked out in his 2 fights in 1983 by people with the names like Arnie Wells and Greg Cuberson. Took 10 years off, came back in September of '93, won 3 straight. He's been stopped though in his last 2 fights against Jeff Graffis and former world champion comebacking Billy Costello. Larry Barnes, of course, has lost only 1 fight, and that was way back in 1990 to Saoul Mamby, former world champion, losing a 10-round decision, very close one, got cut in the process. Won the NABF Welterweight Championship from Harold Brazier back in May of '93. Defended that title 1 time, getting away with a very close decision against Daryl Lattimore, who's a bit of a spoiler. It's a little more than a minute gone by here in round number 1.
Let him go, let him go.
That's Larry Barnes in the black shorts. Jeff Passero out of Hillcrest Heights, Maryland, the black with the gold trim. And he's been eating left hooks all night here from Barnes. Barnes would like to get this one over rather quickly so he could think about his world title shot with Felix Trinidad. Wouldn't like anything after all these years of waiting to put that on the shelf. One of those fighters that's been avoided quite a bit. And for good reason. He's what you'd call a cutie. And he's been in there with some big name fighters. He and Lattimore, beaten Daryl Lattimore a couple of times. Of course, the loss to Saoul Mamby. Been in with Miguel Santana, beat Glenwood Brown in a 10-round decision. As we mentioned, won the NABF title. Oh, and a good left hook hurts Passero as he goes bouncing off the ropes. Barnes trying to capitalize on it again, not known for his knockout power with the 14 KOs and 37 wins. Eats a combination for Passero on the way in as 30 seconds to go in the first round. We're scheduled for 10. We're on Prime International. I'm your host, Arnie Tokyo Rosenthal. 2 more big championship fights, world title fights coming up. Passero looks to the ref, try to get the punches of Larry Barnes kept up. There's under 10 seconds to go in the first round. Good one for the #1 contender, Larry Barnes. Take a look at the corner there of the #1 welterweight in the world, Larry Barnes. Been fighting since 1988, still hasn't gotten that world title shot.
Yeah! Yeah! There you go! There you go! There you go!
And stay a little close. Work for some straight punches too. Wait for some more.
Good.
Okay? Watch his mouth. Watch his mouth. Okay? Work a little more of the straight punches. And work on that switch time. The W's working, right? So you work on that. Okay? Stay downstairs. Nice and relax.
We take a look at action here from round #1. Watch the left hand coming here from Barnes. And that was the shot that hurt Passero, but he wasn't able to follow up on it. We take a look at it from another angle. Passero came bouncing off the ropes, almost caught a good.
Be 30 years old.
Yeah. We're here with the great Larry No Fear Barnes. Hey, let me say this before we get rolling here. You guys have no idea. I pulled up some stuff. So it has here. I don't know. You fought 50 bouts.
50 amateur bouts.
50 amateur bouts.
50 amateur bouts in 2.5 years.
And then you 45-5.
Yeah.
45-5, and then you ended up for your professional career was what?
44-3-1 with 17 knockouts.
44-3-1. So that's what? 80, 90,
that's
100?
98. That's 98 fights. 90-8 altogether.
90-8 altogether.
Yeah.
Right. And we talk a lot in Mount Vernon about the basketball players. We even talk about football players. We talk about baseball players.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the great Ken Singleton and Ralph Brinker.
Oh, yeah.
You can talk about all the legends, the rest in peace of the Gus Williams, Ray Williams.
Yes.
You can talk about Rudy Hackett. You can talk about
Earl Tatum.
Rudy Bennett. I mean, you could talk about so many great basketball players, and then we can even go into entertainers because you can talk about Heavy D and the Boys, Albie Shore. But no, we forget sometimes about Larry. Larry, I apologize for all them folks that forgot about you because what you had accomplished. I mean, Larry and I got an opportunity to coach together. Larry was on, along with the boys, the Mount Vernon High School basketball team.
With Coach Bob Semino.
With Coach Bob Semino and stuff like that. And, as you notice, Larry's a little short statured,
Yeah, I'm 5'6".
5'6", and then so, sometimes in the gym, Larry would be saying something to the young basketball players there, man. Hey, man, you need to do this, you need to do that. And sometimes these guys could be a little disrespectful.
Yeah,
Right?
Very much so. Right?
And I would say, hey, I would say, look, hey, don't be disrespectful to him, man. Right? Because he's a professional. Right? You haven't been through anything that he's been through. Right? This guy's a legend. Right? And you will never work as hard as he's worked. Right? You have no idea what he's been through, So you have to straighten some of the young guys out, man. Back in the day.
I thank you for that, Coach, because I told the guy, I said, listen, if you went through one of my workouts, the workouts that I put Ben Gordon through, you wouldn't come back here. So, when I tell you to do something, do it. And that's, young people today, different. It was different than the way we grew up. If a coach said something, you done it. That was it. There was no discussion. There was no debate. Times have changed a little harder, but, you got to go with the flow. So, that's what I trained to learn how to do. And now these fighters I work with now in Champs Boxing Club, they're willing to work, but around their schedule. I says, you got to work when nobody's here. You got to work. See, when you get up 8, 9 o'clock, the whole country's up. You got to be here 4 or 5 o'clock. Then you got to go to work and do things like that. That's putting the work in and being successful. That's the only way it's going to get done. If not, you're walking on thin ground.
Yeah. And Larry, hey, we know, the crazy thing is that we used to go to club, unless you lived in somebody's area, right? You don't know a whole lot about their life.
Right,
I mean,
right.
We just go to, you don't know who their mom is.
Right,
you don't know who their brother, if they got brothers and sisters. Right. We just in the club because that's where our moms put us at. Put us at the club. Yeah. So, and here's the crazy thing. Larry, I'm like probably 8 years older than Larry. So Larry got to see us, well, if I'm 8 years, then Gus is more, and Denzel is more, and everybody's more right? So I used to see Larry during the summer, right? And I used to see Larry just running. I mean, it's hot, he's out there running, and I'm like, man, it's hot out here, but he's running, doing his thing, and we stopped and we talked, and he was putting in the work, in a sport that is tough. When you talk about basketball, it's tough, but it's finesse. Tennis is an individual thing. Football's a little rougher. Hockey's a little rougher. But boxing,
you got to be intelligent to some extent. When a punch is coming, you got to move the opposite direction. I learned that by training with Ronaldo Snipes, Paul DeVos, Doug DeWitt, the late Carla Truth Williams, the late Clarence Hill, Troy Darrell. Those guys were grown men. I was running 50 miles a week with those guys. I was in 9th and 10th grade in high school. Then after that, I used to go to the boys club and work out with Gus and play with Gus when he had sat out. So, I grew up around a bunch of professional athletes, so, the work was there from when I was very, very young. So when I graduated in high school, I went to the Empire State Games. I won them in 86 and 87. In 88, I won the Metros. Then I turned pro. So, you know.
But in between there, you had 50 fights.
Yeah, I had 50, yeah. You know,
Yeah, you had 50 fights.
I had 50 amateur fights in 2.5 year span. I mean, I was fighting like every other week. I mean, I was in a tournament, I was in a show, I was in a championship. You know, I was fighting the region to go to the Olympics in '88. And I went to the U.S. Nationals and I lost in the quarterfinals. I lost to Kenny Gould. He went on to the Olympics and won the bronze that year. So after that, you know.
Did you think you win the gold?
I thought I could have won the gold that year, but they had him. I mean, he was their favorite at that time. You know, he might have beaten me. So, you know, hey, I said, hey, good luck to you in the Olympics. See you the rest of the way. I went my way. He went his way. You know, and I was in the amateurs with Roy Jones. He was on that Olympic team.
Roy Jones. Oh, yeah, he was a master.
He was a master. Ray Mercer was on that team. Riddick Bowe. I was trying to get on the team, but I had to beat Kenny Gould. That wasn't going to happen. They weren't going to let that happen. He had great hand speed. So, you know, I just turned pro. I had 12 pro fights in 1 year.
Wow.
That's unheard
but before we go there, before we go into the pro aspect of it, man, talk about growing up, man. Talk about because one of the things of the blueprint, because, you know, we like you know, there's a foundation. Yeah. When you everybody that's been on the show has had a foundation of the importance of family, right? The importance of education, and the importance of faith. So talk about your family. Talk about growing up with a mom, dad, siblings. You know, talk a little bit about that.
I came to Mount Vernon in August of 1975 with my mother and my 7 brothers and 2 sisters. It's just 4 of us left now. The rest have passed away.
Did I know any of your brothers and sisters? I don't think.
You may have known my brothers and sisters. You might not know they were my brothers and sisters. But growing up here in Mount Vernon, I went to Cecil Parker School. From Cecil Parker, I went to A.B. Davis. From A.B. Davis...
That's middle school.
Yeah, I went to the middle school. But before A.B. Davis, after Cecil Parker, I went to Graham School. I was there with Heavy D for 3 years. He was in my class, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. He sat right next to me. That was good because I looked on his paper. Every time he had a test, I had to look on his paper. I mean, man. He said, "What are you doing, Larry?" I said, "Hey, man, listen." You know, so we were very good friends. So, and growing up, then at high school, I became the basketball water boy. That's the manager. And, you know, I made a lot of friends
Don't put your arm there.
I made a lot of friends doing that. And, you know, before I got to high school, my mother was already deceased. So, you know, I was raised by my older brothers. So, you know, and I came to high school. I met Gene Woloski. I met Tony Farentino. These were guys who were mentors for me when I was in high school for 4 years. So, you know, when I got out of high school, I started prize fighting. Before prize fighting, I was an amateur fighter. So then 2 years as an amateur, I turned pro. I had 12 fights in 1 year. They don't do that no more. I mean, that's unheard of. Now a guy's fighting twice a year. You know,
a fight a month.
Yeah, that's what it was, a fight a month. You know, and after the first year, you know, some people talked to my manager. They said to him, maybe you shouldn't fight him so much, you know. Then I had to go to the doctor before my 13th professional fight. I was having hand and eye coordination problems. I was fighting too much, you know. I wasn't getting hit, but I was getting hit. Mm-hmm. So they slowed me down. So instead of 12 fights a year, I averaged 5 or 6 fights a year. You know, that still was a lot. I mean, they're not doing that even today.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And then plus you still working out.
I was still sparring with guys. I was still running. You know, I was swimming at the high school. I mean, I had a real curriculum. But, you know, when you're boxing like that, you must take care of your body. If you're not going to take care of your body, get a regular 9-to-5 job. Because this sports in general require a lot. And you have to put the work in and keep putting the work in.
Yeah, no. You saying coming out of high school, then, and so were you thinking about when what were you was that what you were thinking about coming out? You would say, okay, well, I want to take a little shot at this at the boxing.
Yeah, because
and who started you? Like, how did you get?
my cousin Paul DeVos
Okay.
was an amateur boxer. He was a professional boxer. He fought Hector Camacho 3 times in the amateurs. He fought Barry McGuigan. He fought Jackie Beard. You know, I was with him, Ronaldo Snipes, Doug DeWitt.
Yeah, he out of Yonkers.
Yeah.
Ronaldo Snipes. I seen Ronaldo a couple of years ago. I saw Ronaldo. Yeah.
I saw him. I was with him. I was in their stable for like 5 years. Then I went my own way. I met my manager, got involved with him. We reeled off 48 fights in a decade. I fought for the title twice, the IBF junior middleweight title, the welterweight title, and I was the North American champ, the 2-time New York State champ. And I was the #1 contender in the world for like 2.5, 3 years, until a guy named Felix Trinidad came along.
Yeah.
I mean, like, wow. Fighting that guy, it was something different. You know, I thought I was going to fight Maurice Blocker. He came along, knocked Maurice Blocker out in '93. Now I got to wait another 1.5 years. Now I got to fight this guy. He's got already 6 title defenses. He's 6-0 in his title defenses. So,
well, remind me of. You always think you're the best. You know, when you go up against. I'm the best. Nobody's better than me.
Yeah.
I mean, you could talk about Muhammad Ali. I got a Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like I don't care Muhammad Ali. I'm the best.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember as a basketball player, and I played against some great players. You know, Kareem, Magic, Bird, and I always thought I was the best player on the floor. I mean, if you don't think like that, if you go out there thinking like, yo, that guy's better than me,
then you're gonna get beat.
Yeah. So we was playing in an exhibition game. And it was Michael Jordan rookie year.
Okay.
So I'm sitting on the bench. I'm with the at this time it's the Kansas City Kings.
Okay.
And they was about to move to Sacramento.
Sacramento.
Yeah. And so I'm sitting on the bench, and Reggie Theus is out there, and Michael Jordan. Okay. Game started. Michael's like, he's torturing Reggie. I mean, he's literally torturing Reggie. And I looked at Michael Jordan. I was like, man, I ain't never seen anything like this. And I seen Willis Reed, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem, Oscar, and I'm like, I've never seen anybody with this type of skill, quickness, and speed. Wow. And I heard the coach say, "Lowe's, get Reggie." I'm like thinking like, I don't know if I don't know if I want to go out there, you know. So that's the kind of experience with Felix Trinidad.
Oh, now. I'll get back to what you were saying about Michael Jordan. Now, I was the #1 contender in the world for maybe 2.5 years. I had won 22 fights in 5 years after Saoul Mamby had controversially beat me. When I got in the ring with Tito that night, it was like me being on a moped, he was in a Ferrari. I mean, like, everything hit me was succession. I mean, I swung back. I mean, at that time, he was at his best when I fought him. So, you know, I didn't have no complaints when I lost. I fought the best at the top of his game, you know.
And you had how many fights?
I had 40 fights when I fought him. I was 39-1 with 15 KOs. He was 22-0 with like 19 knockouts. He had knocked out 6 guys. He had defended the title. I was the 7th guy. You know, hey, I walked over to him and said, "Hey, good fight." You know, so be it. You know.
Yeah, I remember talking to you. You was like, "Man," I said, "Man, how? You know what was up with the fight?" You said, "Yeah, man." He said, "Man, like he was throwing bricks at me."
Yeah, he literally was. And you know, I didn't come out of it for maybe like 4 or 5 days after the fight because my head was still foggy. I mean, like, then you know, people said he was taping his hands illegal. I said, I don't know about that. I know I lost. And, you know, that was the most thing I was thinking about. But I had 7 more fights. I won 6 of them. I had my second title fight against Luis Ramon Yori-Boy Campas on the La Jolla Trinidad card. I got stopped in the third round. It was time for me to pack it in. You know, my job is now is making preparation to help young people in this country or in this county do whatever. Make the right, yes, there you go.
Yeah, at least they got you getting a hit in, man.
Yeah, I think that made him mad. You know, but you know, but saying all that, fighting with him, yeah, that was the last time I was with Mike Tyson. You know, the 19th of August, 2018. Yes, me, Junior Jones, Mike Tyson. Yeah.
Yeah, we showing some pictures here.
Yeah.
That
was me in 1993.
Yeah, the young Larry Bonds right there. Yeah.
Now, if I would have fought Tito there, I probably would have got him. I was 26 there.
Yeah. You know, like, hey, life, it don't happen like that.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, you was putting it in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You're showing some
Where'd you get all this stuff from?
Man, it's called
research.
The internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called the internet.
That was my New Jersey Hall of Fame.
That's New Jersey Hall of Fame?
Yeah, this is my New York State Hall of Fame belt.
Yeah, let's see. You got your Hall of Fame belt.
Yes. I'm very proud of this thing. You know, during the speech, I told everybody I'd like to thank one more person. I'd like to thank me for putting in all the hard work every day. And I got a real applause for that. Thank you. Yes, sir. I had to bring this and show you, you know.
And this is the New Jersey.
Yeah.
The New Jersey Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Right? That's why I say, man, you an unsung hero, man. You put in the work, man, but nobody gives you the recognition. I'm here.
Yeah, and I thank
to
you
salute.
And I thank you for that. And when I fought Felix Trinidad nearly 30 years ago, the club honored me at halftime at one of the games. So I thank you guys. I thank you and the boys club for always acknowledging me.
Oh yeah, man. You know why? Because look, you know, you was on two ends of the spectrum, right? Like you said, if it was in reverse,
yes.
If Trinidad had 40-some fights and you had 25,
right,
and you were at that age, man, it would be different.
It would be different.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, life, like you said, don't go along like that. So,
yeah.
You know, so I was very happy.
But here, this is why I was proud. I was proud because a lot of people don't understand the business of boxing.
Oh.
So I'm assuming, and I don't know a whole lot about the business of boxing, but I'm assuming that, like, when you were undefeated, and I've seen people like Felix, right? He was undefeated.
He was undefeated.
He fought 20-some fights.
Yes.
Right, and you were undefeated
when I fought Saoul Mamby.
But you had 20-some fights.
I was 17-0.
17-0.
Yes.
Right, and when your first loss was when?
Saoul Mamby, August 23rd, 1990, at the county center.
Okay, so you had how many fights then?
17.
17. You lost to him?
Yes, he had 70.
He had 70 fights.
He had 70. He went 15 rounds with Roberto Duran.
Yeah.
I mean, like he had a chin like that wall. I mean, like when I hit him, he said, "Son, you got to do better than that."
But you said that you fought Felix, right? He was 25, right? He had six defensive fights.
He had 6 defensive fights, and he was 22.
Right, and so that means he had his first championship fight at what age?
Maybe 19 to 20.
Right, so you was 17-0.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Why didn't Larry Bonds have a championship fight? I mean, this is understanding the business of boxing.
See, now you get into the ethics of boxing. See, now since you said that, now you open up another can of worms. Every sport, professional sport in this country or the world, after you retire, what do they give you? A pension. There's no pension fund in boxing. I boxed 10 years. I was at the top of the game for about 7 or 8. I'm retired. I've been retired 24, 25 years. I don't see no pension every month. Yeah, you do need a pension in boxing.
Yeah.
I mean,
But you got to have, what they call that, you got to have a union.
yeah, and boxing is,
You don't have no union.
Boxing don't have no union. And till you got, guys doing this, I'm not going to say no names, guys doing this, doing that, the sport will be like it's always been. People can come in and manage the fight, and nobody got no experience, no ring experience, call himself a trainer. This is how people get hurt. You understand?
Yeah.
There's got to be rules and regulations because, the sport is a great sport. It still is a great sport, but it's got to be taken care of. Right now, for the last 25 years, I don't think the sport has been taken care of the way other sports have been taken care of.
Yeah, but you need the boxers. I think there's enough people because even Denzel a lover
Of boxing.
of boxing.
He played Ruben Hurricane Carter.
Yeah, but he was a lover even before then.
Before that, yeah,
and
I know.
his best friend was Butch Lewis.
Yeah, he came to Mount Vernon with Butch Lewis.
Yeah, he came with Butch Lewis, man. Avid Butch. Butch was a promoter.
Michael Spinks and Leon Spinks.
Yeah,
promoter.
he was a promoter, and this guy, promoters, managers, coaches, boxers got to get together and say, look, hey, if we're gonna participate in this space, right, you got to protect. Somebody's got to stand up and say we got to protect the fighters.
I'm in all agreement to that. I really am. I'm in all agreement to that. The fighters got to be taken care of. I mean, most of
Because like same thing in football. Like after a while, seeing the violence of football, right, and the kind of attack on, when you play this this type of game with that kind of physicality, now some of these players are now starting because of the data, the science, and because of people have done the research. Now people are starting. We got to take care of the football players, and there are a lot of football players that kind of lost their life over. And over the violence or the nature that it does when what they call brain trauma.
Yeah.
Right, and when you do it for a long time, it could be detrimental. So somebody needs, I don't know who it is, right? Somebody needs to come up and say, hey, we need to protect these boxers. Yeah. We need to be more protective. And then, even like football, you change the helmets.
Yeah, you try to do.
You try to fix the helmets and stuff like that. Hey, you guys are not fighting. Well, they changed the gloves because, man, when folks was hitting with 8 ounce and folks was hitting with 10 ounce, man,
that's a real difference.
Yeah, and
the 8 ounce you can feel your knuckles, and the 10 ounce you can feel the gauze. And when you getting hit upside the head, it's like somebody hitting you with a pair of brass knuckles. True story.
Yeah, and I had a couple of MMA fighters on.
Yeah, mixed martial arts guy.
Yeah, I had them on the show. Yeah, they. And I had the father and the son on. One ended up being the champion. Father was a champion, and the son, he's pretty young in the sport, right? But man, I look at the MMA fighters, and I look at the little gloves, and I'm thinking like, man. And then the thing is, they kicking too.
They kicking, kneeing, elbowing, headbutting.
I wonder if they getting pensions or is somebody talking about that?
Let me tell you something. Those sports should have pensions. I'm not just saying it because I was an ex-boxer.
No, you should say it because you're an ex-boxer.
I'm saying it because I was in the ring, and it's a dirty business, and you got to get people you can trust. If you don't have nobody you can trust, you never know who's gonna do what, or take what, do what. That was the circumstances with me.
Yeah, because definitely with all your accomplishments, when I was looking over doing the research, with all your accomplishment and your success in the sports, man, you should be in an amazing place. right now in your life.
Right. I should be, but I'm not. And you know what? I'm not going to cry over that, because probably the man upstairs has a plan for me. And I can't wait on him. I got to move when he tell me to move. So,
Right.
So
now as we transition from, Larry Bonds in the amateur ranks, Larry Bonds in the professional ranks, and then like most athletes, what were you thinking when you say, "Hey man, I'm retiring, it's over"? What were you thinking as what was next?
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
What was I going to do for the next 50 years? It's hard. I mean, trust me. But, most things right now, what I can do, stay healthy. I got my health, thank God. And try to give back to somebody who want to go down that road. That's all I can tell them. Give them the best advice, give them the best help, and try to lead them in the right path.
Right.
That's what it's about right now, helping each other in the sport who need to be helped the most. Not taken advantage of, who need to be helped. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It's a difference between helping a person and taking advantage of them. I'm here to help the guys so they don't get taken advantage of, like
right.
I did.
Yeah, so you feel like you got taken advantage of. Then you could have been in a different place.
Yeah, I could have been in a different place, My manager called all the shots, But, we won't get into all that. But, that's why, the fighter's got to make his own mind up. Mm-hmm. I'm here just to guide him, train him, make sure he's physically and mentally aware where he should or she should be. And the stuff, Joe Frazier said something to me many years ago. He says, when I'm dead and gone, he says, and all of us are passing through, he says, these young people are going to need you. You got to guide them. Tell them what you can and can't do and how to go about this. And I said, Joe, you're right. And so, I look at it from that aspect and from that point of view, paying my dues, giving back, making preparation. Hardest thing to do is get everybody together to make preparation, because it's hard to preparate when guys ain't listening. And, so when the fight come on or the game come on, if you made all your preparation, you have nothing to worry about. And,
and then it's a question of the best man won.
There you go.
Yeah, I did my preparation. They did their preparation.
It's the best man who won. Who wanted more?
Yeah.
Who's willing to give that extra? And that's what thrills me about Tom Brady when he played. He always went that extra pass. Michael Jordan, that extra dribble, that extra shot to go to the basket. When you talked about guarding him, made me think about the 1992 NBA Finals when he attacked Clyde Drexler. Boy, did he attack Clyde Drexler.
Yeah.
I mean, that was intimidating, what he did to Clyde Drexler. What he did to that team, what he did to that 6 games. I mean, that's the type.
Yeah, because there was a comparison.
That was a comparison. That's the type of heart and tenacious and you got to bring to the table, or you'll be mediocre.
Yeah.
And I always bring that out. I looked at how he attacked Clyde Drexler in that 92 final game.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's the difference between, you think, boxing when you started and boxing today?
The dedication and, guys work around their schedules. See, when I was boxing 45 years ago, I was up at 4 o'clock, finished by 6, work out by 8 or 9, go home, go to sleep. This was all during the summer. Get up, 3 o'clock, go to the gym. I had a regimen. Guys do things, see, guys run at 10 o'clock in the day, 10 o'clock at night. The air is all polluted, but guys got to work around their schedule. I don't see the hungerness no more. Guys calling guys out. Guys are ducking each other, moving around, see who they can beat and who they can win against. You know, that's not boxing. You know, hey, if you're the number one challenger and you're the champ, you got to fight him within 2-3 months. You know, the commission, they will allow these guys to duck one another. Meanwhile, Randy Gordon, my New York State Commission, let me tell you, he strip you. If you're supposed to fight this guy and he didn't want to strip you. Larry has it in New Jersey. If you're the number one contender and you're supposed to fight this guy, if you don't want to fight, you strip you. They don't do that no more. They give guys tap on the shoulder.
Somebody really want to get you?
Yeah, I'm not worried about them. So, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, there we go.
Yeah, I think Ron Flemings. Ron is still on here. Let's see. Yeah, Ron. I think I wanted Ron to come on. I text you. I think I text you. I text you a link for you to jump on here with us. It said, go back to that one statement. Said Larry told my dad at the house on 3rd Street that his favorite fighter was Joe Frazier.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And his father said, Joe Frazier, not Joe Frazier, man. No, not Frazier. His father had me cracking up. Oh, man. Oh, man.
He said his dad was a boxer in the service.
Yes, he was. Yes.
Yeah. That was fun.
What? Oh, man. He said, not Frazier, man. No, not Frazier.
No, because everybody was a Muhammad Ali fan
at
that particular time. It says I met Muhammad at LAX, and he put up his hands, like I would look like Joe Frazier. No, Muhammad would throw them hands. I never forget. Who was it? He was on the morning show. I can't remember his name. He's on there on CBS. I think he was. Greg Gumbo. Remember Greg Gumbo? Yeah, Greg Gumbo. And Muhammad was having the problem with the Parkinson.
Right.
And so Greg Gumbo was talking to Muhammad. He's looking at each other, kind of eye to eye, and he said, Muhammad, you kind of slow down a little bit, and all of a sudden Muhammad threw like
that was great. That was Brian Gumbo.
Brian Gumbo. He threw like 12 shots.
Quick shots.
Yeah. And
Brian Gumbo could cover up. All he could do was cover up.
He hit him 12 times before he even covered up. I remember that show, man. Oh, and then Greg said, Brian said, "Oh, you still got a little quickness in there."
When I met him that day, when I went, he already had his hand on my chin like that. I said, "Wow, this guy's still fast."
Yeah.
He was amazing, man.
Oh yeah, he was, man. I mean,
and let me tell you, him, Joe Frazier, Ken Norton, George Foreman, Larry Holmes. All those guys gave their heart and soul in the square circle when they did. Okay? And George Foreman and Ron Lau, when those guys fought, it was like somebody got broke up. Okay? They don't fight like that no more.
No, they don't.
Yeah. Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, the fight in April of '85. They don't fight like that no more. You understand?
Yeah, I understand.
I mean, and these are the fights that people come out to see. They don't want to. Nowadays they make for close circuit fights. They make you wait up too late.
Yeah.
They keep you up all night. I'm getting up there in age, so by 10:30 I'm in the bed. Before that, after I watch a couple of good fights, I can't wait up to 12 or 1 o'clock. I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, I know. I was looking for a picture here. I had a picture of Muhammad Ali. Let me see if I can find it. real quick here. I'm gonna send it to my wife. See if she can throw it up for me. Yeah. Let me set this up here. Yeah, let me see. I got it.
I remember when Muhammad Ali and World Champion got after each other on Wild Rose.
Oh yeah, well, Will thought he could beat Muhammad.
Oh, no, yeah.
Well, no, you don't want to fight Will. Will, he
Will-
was long.
You know what Will said? He said, "Shave that beard off, cause I ain't fighting no billy goat." And he says, "Guess what?" He says, me and Bill Russell getting ready for you.
Yeah, you loved them guys back then, man, because they fought with purpose.
Purpose.
And they fought for a culture.
And they fought for a cause.
Yeah, because it was so much going on with black men, back in the day.
Yeah.
And
That's Rich Eisen. You know who that is right there?
Who's that?
With the Kango. He was the only American in the 72 Olympic Games to win a gold medal. That's Sugar Ray Seals.
Sugar Ray Seals.
Yes.
Wow.
That's Marlon, the Magic Man Starlin.
I remember Starlin, yeah.
I was supposed to be a spawn partner for him. That's Frank Lombardi.
Got the whole crew over there.
Yeah, Marlon Starlin, Richard Burton. Me and Mustafa Hamshaw. He fought Marvin Hagler.
Yeah.
If Marvin Hagler wasn't there, he would have been the champ. He beat everybody in the division except Marvin Hagler. Mustafa Hamshaw. Yep. That was me at Larry Holmes' place.
So you down there with Larry Holmes every year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, we got the show. Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was 26 in that picture. At that time, I don't think nobody could have beat me. At that time. And then who's that? That's Denzel
And Muhammad Ali.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah, Denzel and Muhammad Ali. Yeah, that's when we honored them at the Boys and Girls Club, man.
That's all right.
So talk to me about what it's like now, currently. I mean, and over these years that you have after fighting, that how you helped, so many the boxers today, and what kind of information, as well as the technique and the skills of being a boxer, the condition. Talk about the attributes or the things that it takes to be a boxer. What's the number one when you talking about I'm gonna become a boxer? What's the number one thing that a person should do? I mean, what's the first thing?
The first thing he should do is really sit down with himself and say, "This is what I'm gonna do." If he's got parents, he will tell his parents and see how they feel about it. But for the most part of it, man, I would tell most kids today, go to school. From my experience, I would tell most kids, go to school. It ain't all it's ripped up to be. Not today it is. When I boxed, everything was done at nighttime. When I say nighttime, I mean 4 o'clock, 3:30. When you get done, it's still early in the morning. I did that for about 10 years. And you got to have the perseverance to listen to people and to do things that you don't want to do, you have to do, because if you don't do it, this is what's going to happen. It ain't going to be good. So as a boxer back then, we lived a certain way. Okay? Simple as that. But you have to have purpose to know what you're going to get. Okay, my purpose was going to get a world title. Some people are successful, some people ain't. Did I put the work in? Yes, I did. Was the champ supernatural? He was a man, but He was supernatural skills. He won. He beat me. So, you know, you got to go back to the drawing board. But you got to be mental. It's all mental.
So talk about that mental aspect of boxing, because it's not for the you know, the weak at heart.
No, it's not. If they know that you're weak and you're boxing, they're going to eat you up within 2 or 3 rounds. Within 2 or 3 rounds. A guy can smell blood. He can smell fear. Okay? Trust me. I can smell fear from another guy in a fight. And I know when another guy was there to try to take my head off. And I know if I wasn't ready, it could happen to me. If he wasn't ready, it was going to happen to him. See, when you get out there, when that bell rings, the rest of that BS go out the window. Just you and him. Whoever connect first. You know, if he connect first, but if I connect first, I got him. And you got to be always subsequently keen. Never mind the people when you're going there. You have to focus on getting that adversary. He's in your way for the next fight. That's all you got to think about. You get him out the way, now you got to think about the next guy you want.
Yeah, and what kind of conditioning, when you talk about conditioning of fighters, I mean, what kind of conditioning that you did?
Ruthless. Ruthless. This is why I had to have 2 hip replacements. 60 miles a week. I'm running around the track. Every mile is well under 6 minutes. 5:34, 5:38, 5:40. Stop and I do 10 100 yards, 1 sprint. Then I do 3 more rounds, miles, 5:28, 5:29, 5:58. I would run 6 miles in like 24 minutes. You know, then I would run 200 yards in 1 sprint. Then I would go to the YMCA and swim. You know, then go home and work, sleep, then get up and go to the gym and work out for 2.5 hours. That was every day. Okay?
You putting in the work.
Putting in the work every day. You know, I did that. There was a time, I really would have had 70, 80 fights. I thank God I didn't. I would have been punch drunk. There was times where I didn't fight for like 5, 6 months. There was times where, you know, where people didn't want to fight me. But when I did fight, I was busy in the most biggest arenas, Madison Square Garden, Atlantic City, the county center. You know, when you get to those places, you got to be ready to perform. If you're not ready to perform, people are going to boo you.
Yeah, and you're not going to get more fights.
You're not going to get more fights. You're not going to get more venues.
What about managers?
Yeah. Like what?
Like how important it is to have right managers and coaches.
The right manager can get, if you got the right manager, if he can get you the right fight, he can make you, the right manager can make you rich. But if he's full of crap, he's in for the money, and he's in for himself, your career is not going to do anything, okay? You got to be one. The manager got to be for you, okay? If he's not for you, you know, see, fighters used to get paid right after the fight. My guy used to keep my check for like 10, 12 days later. Why? He wants to divvy up everything with his partner. I says, I'm your partner. So what I'm telling you is I was in an underworld place at that time, you know.
Yeah, and you didn't have, like, you needed to have somebody
of my background, my ethnic background.
Yeah, and that would advise you.
Yeah,
you know, you needed
they didn't want anybody to advise me. I mean,
somebody want to get you bad.
Yeah. I don't know who it is. I really don't. But
so it was interesting. I did a thing with LeBron James. Called the Battleground, you know, where it was a whole one-on-one situation, you know, where they used to take the best one-on-one player in America, and it happened to be some guy out of California that ended up winning, And then they did the best one-on-one player in the world. Somebody in France won. And then they got to LeBron when LeBron was at the height of his career. They said, hey, we want you to do the battleground. And LeBron was like, I don't do one-on-one. I do team.
Okay.
So Ben became the celebrity coach.
All right.
And I became the coach.
All right.
And Tim Hardaway became in Chicago. It said at that time they thought New York and Chicago was the best
right
to compete against each other. And so, and Andre Iguodala and was the coaches. And so, LeBron was like, yeah, I'm going to host this thing. And so we did 6 episodes with MTV and Nike. And when I first met LeBron, they introduced me to an older gentleman who was in the back, him about 6'4", nice looking older gentleman, right? And they told me to go see him. So we stood there about 5 or 6 minutes and we're having a conversation with each other, right? And great conversation. We just talking, laughing, and just talking about different things. And all of a sudden, LeBron looked over at him and he gave him a thumbs up sign. He said, "You can go talk to LeBron now."
Okay.
Right. And everywhere you go, this gentleman's in the background.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, LeBron won the Sports Illustrated Athlete of the Year, Person of the Year, because they give it to either male or female. You can give it that award. And LeBron won. It was at the Barclays, and JB was hosting it.
Right.
So JB asked me if I wanted to come. Right. So I was like, yeah. So JB hosted. Cream was there. We're sitting at tables. So after it was all over, Nas came into the locker room where we were at. And then JB was, let's go see LeBron, right? So we all go to LeBron's, locker room, and he's back there, and he sees JB. He's like, JB, So, but he remembered me as the coach of the battleground,
right?
So he looks behind me, and right there was the same guy, the older gentleman was right there. Right, and he said, LeBron, there go coach, right there, like that. And they both came over and they gave me a hug. You always need somebody to advise you, somebody who speaks for you. And sometimes they get boxers. It don't have to be boxers, but sometimes it could be somebody who's training you, somebody think they're going to manage you in the future, whether you playing basketball, baseball. There's always some, and like you said, the person there has to have your best interest.
Yes. See, they didn't want me to have any advice. They wanted to be the advisors, but they wasn't giving me the right advice. You understand? So I'm stationary for 10 years with these guys. I couldn't sign no contract with them.
Yeah, all that's important. Right agent, right manager, all that's.
They didn't want me to have no agent. I mean, like, it was his way or no way. So, and this is what.
And you young.
Yeah,
you don't know how to get out of that. You think this is what it is. I mean, and it's the same thing in like people in the music industry, right? If you don't know, you could be gifted, you could have all the talent, but if you get in that world, man, and they could end up be successful, getting resources, and you could end up broke.
And that's what happened. You understand? And I didn't have anybody in my background, to help me. I thought it was all right, but it was all wrong. They took like 70% of the pie. I took 30. It wasn't supposed to go that way. You understand? He's wondering why today I don't speak to him. That's why. Him and his goons. Yeah. You understand?
Yeah, but at least today you can. That's why you're doing what you're doing now, is that you can advise young fighters.
Listen, I tell young fighters today, young athletes, when you go sign a contract, make sure you bring a lawyer with you who reads contracts specifically.
For you.
For you.
Yeah.
I says, listen to me. I says, you don't want to end up mad and miserable after your career. I said, you want to end up comfortable and relaxed. You want to take the right guy with you when you go sign these contracts, so nobody's getting over on you. It's simple as that. Oh, you know what they said to me? My manager and his goons. Oh, what, you don't trust us? I said, no, I don't. So here I am today, you know. So that's why I try to tell these guys, look, don't sign nothing unless you got a lawyer. I said, if you got a father, make sure you take your father. Make sure you get a lawyer for you. I said, anything can happen. I said, this is friends is friends. Business is business. Okay? And they always want to end up with the most money at the end of the day. So I said, you know, and people ask me, why you tell people these young fighters? Because I don't want them to end up like me. You understand? I says, yeah, I had a great career, but I got no money because I had bad management. You understand? I don't know.
Yeah, let me fix
understand?
that for you. You got to kind of slide it in there. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who knows who took what? You understand? So
Yeah.
this is why, you know, I tell young guys, make sure you go to school so you can read these contracts, so you cannot get taken advantage of. Because if people think that they can take advantage of you, they're gonna do it. If they see a weak spot, they're gonna go for it. So I'm telling you, you know, bring a lawyer with you before you sign any contracts. I'm telling all young prize fighters, all young athletes, make sure you got somebody in your background that you know you can depend on and trust. It's about trust when you go to the table.
Right.
It really is.
And so what are you doing? Yeah, I agree 100% on that. So what do you enjoy about, like, as we come to our close, what do you enjoy about getting in the gym with these young fighters today? I mean, because evidently you doing it. I mean, can you make a living doing it? I mean,
I can, but you know, I got to start getting these guys to turn pro. You know, but I want these guys to fight to get off the street and make something of themselves. You know what I'm saying? You can go to school, get your degree, do this. I said, but you know what? If you want to fight full time, this is what it is. You got to be in here when I'm in here. I'm in here before the sun up. I'm in here at 4:30. Okay, by 6:30, you can go do whatever you got to do, and you come back tomorrow morning. Make sure you do your work. I'm giving guys advice all through the day. Well,
you know, it's interesting because a couple of years ago, you know, I got an itch. You know, every now and then I get an itch or I want to help somebody.
Yeah.
Right. You know, but so I found this church that had a gym in it up near White Plains High School. And I met with the people there, and they said I could come in. They said, well, what time you want to come in? I said, I want to get in at between 6, and I want to be finished by 9. You know, so so I put it out there. Me and my son Isaiah put it out there. You know, it was the end of the season,
right?
And I'm saying, like, okay, you get after you finish the season,
right?
You got to rest your body. You got to get some rest.
Yeah, get some rest.
Right, and then about 2-3 a month,
about
2 or 3 a month, about 4 weeks, you get it. Then you got to go to work. You're working on next season. So if you're a junior and you weren't playing, but you're looking for more time, right? Then you don't get better in the season. You get better in the off season.
Yeah.
Right. So I said you got to put in the time. So I was saying, like, hey, if you didn't start and your goal is to start next year, if you didn't make the team last year and you want to make the team this year, you got to put the work in.
And that's when a lot of young people come see me at Champs. They want to start in their football career. They want to start in their basketball career. So, well, this is what you got to do. I says, you just ain't gonna get picked. I says, you gotta make the coach turn his head. Who is that? Where did he come from? I said, you got to set an example.
Mm-hmm.
I said, this is the only way it's going to happen. I said, you got to put the work in. If you don't put the work in, you don't get rewarded.
Yeah, and I had to call up some friends. I said, hey, man, you got any players? I told them exactly what I just said. You know, that want to get in the gym early. And the coach was like, what time? I called a couple of coaches, about 2 or 3 coaches. You know, every coach said, what time? I said, yeah, I'm in the gym at 6. We finished by 9.
Right.
And they was like, man, can you move it to like 10, 11? I said, no, I'm not moving to. That's my time. Right? My time is at 10, 11.
That's right.
Right? I mean, when you get there at 6, I always ask them, well, where's your competition? And they were like, oh, they sleep. Yeah, but where are you? You're working. By the time they wake up, you put the work in.
You already going to the next phase.
That's right.
They're just getting up.
And most athletes don't want to do that.
Maybe 80% of them don't want to do it. But, you know.
You'll find that small percentage.
I found the small percentage that's willing to work, you know. I got to put the work in with them because, you know, they ain't going to get better. I'm teaching them. I'm showing them how not to get hit, how to hit, how to move, you know, how to be defensive. How to hold your hands up when somebody hitting you.
Yeah. You know? I got to tell you this story, man. I was a young guy, right? And, you know, we was at the club. They used to give us the boxing club.
Yeah.
And we get in the ring and, you know, we thought we wasn't doing nothing but slapping, you know. And so remember they had the PAL in the building next to the library. Remember that?
By the youth center.
Yeah, remember the library?
By across from City Hall.
They had one that was across the street from the Y.
From the Y.
Yeah, right there in that building. They in the basement. They put up it had a whole ring in there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. This is before you though, man.
Right.
This is before you. It was PAL.
Right.
It was PAL. So I go in there. Everybody was like, we was doing something at the library, and they was like, hey, man, they boxing next door. So I go there, and it's a ring. You know, the guy's like, yo, you interested in boxing? I was like, oh, man, I know how to box. That's what I was saying. Like, I know how to box. He said, yeah, let's see what you got, man. So, they give me the big gloves, right? They put me in the ring, and there's a look, and they asked the little guy come in. It's a little guy, little dark-skinned dude. He had glasses on. And so when he got in the ring, they took the glasses off, and he had his gloves on, and he's in the corner. And I was saying to myself, I'm about to kill this little dude. So they ring that little bell, ding, and my man came out. Duck. I was like, what?
You didn't know what to do.
I didn't know what to do. I'm like, he like, pop, 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 pop.
See, he had been in there.
Then I'm trying to throw my gloves off right now. I want to fight him for real.
See, when you go in the gym, they show you how to punch. Straight punches.
Yeah, well, I didn't know nothing about that.
And see,
I know that club when we started fighting each other, they put them gloves on. We just go ballistic.
Ballistic. That's it.
And I remember at one time after that, when we was learning the box. At the north side, we was learning the box. And I remember having my first, they put us in to have a little boxing match.
A smoker.
Yeah, and they put 3 minutes on the clock.
Right.
I was in there thinking when this time gonna run out? 3 minutes is a long time, man.
Who you telling? Who you telling? I said 3 minutes is a lifetime if you ain't in shape.
Oh, yeah.
The ref coming to you, Larry, last round, touch him up. Oh, man.
Oh, man,
and
Larry.
See, this is why I tell these guys, if you ain't in shape, don't ask to spar, don't ask to get signed up for no fights. See, now I know who's in the gym, who's not in the gym. I know who I can sign up. If I ain't seen you in 2-3 weeks, I'm not gonna sign you up. I'm not. You're gonna get beat down. Simple as that. Logic shows it. If I see you every day, I'm gonna sign you up. We're gonna take you out.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah. Man. So Larry, before we get off here, man,
yes, sir.
Is there any advice that you would want to give a young person? It could be about boxing, education, any advice you want to give these young people today, man.
When an older person is telling you something, advising you, you should listen. If you live long enough, you're going to get old. You understand? You listen to old people, people who've been there before you, okay? You don't try to act like you're all that. You try to act like you want to know that, because when they tell you something, you got to listen. Listen to your elders out here, your mother, your father, okay? It's a long way. All you got to do, put the work in and listen. My word is to you, is to stay disciplined. Everybody can't do it, but I'm hoping there's special people out there that can do it who want to get where they got to get. That's it, Coach.
Man, I appreciate you, man. It's been a long time. I've been reaching out to Larry for a couple of years. I saw him at the gas station.
Yeah.
I said, man, I got to get you on the podcast. And then he kind of disappeared.
Yeah, so
I'm like,
here
where
I
Larry
am.
at? You know, but here he is, the great Larry No Fear Bonds.
Thank you for having me, Lowe's. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome, man. Again, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Remember that the Blueprint Podcast stays on forever. I mean, you can go to Lowe's More the Blueprint on Facebook, Lowe's More the Blueprint on YouTube, and it's there. So we have people that are on tonight, and then from this day forward, people just pop on and check out the show. And I want to thank you for your support. I want to say God bless you guys. I look forward to seeing you next week. And let me say this. I say it every week. And people be reminding me that listen to the show when I say this. You know, if the Lord allow you to wake up tomorrow, make tomorrow your masterpiece. God bless
Amen.
you, and I'll see you next week. I guess I'm going to see you in a few.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Lowe's More, the Blueprint Podcast. Stay connected and follow us at our website, www.lowesmore.com. That's LOWESMOORE.com. You can also join the discussion on Twitter at Lowe's More and on Facebook at Lowe's More Jr. As always, thank you for pushing your mindset towards a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking portion of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast to stay fully up to date with everything we're up to. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.
What they teaching is a joke. I ain't buying it like I'm broke. Insufficient funds for insignificant.